They say trust takes years to build and seconds to break. After 12 years of marriage, it took just one forgotten receipt to make me question everything. When she finally confessed to having a date, she expected tears and begging. Instead, she got the coldest smile she'd ever seen from me and words that turned her world upside down. She never saw it coming, but I've been planning for weeks. My name is Wesley Harmon. I'm 41, and until 6 months ago, I thought I had a pretty good life. I'd started my own eco-packaging company 3 years back after working in industrial design for over a decade. Green wrap wasn't making me rich, but we were growing, landing new clients every quarter. I was proud of what we'd built, sustainable packaging solutions that were actually making a difference. Funny how I could spot the smallest flaw in a product design, but miss the gaping holes in my marriage. Monica and I met at a charity event in Portland. She was smart, confident, commanding a room without even trying. When she laughed, people turned to see who was having such a good time. I fell hard. We got married after 18 months, bought a small house with a backyard that needed work, made plans. The usual American dream package deal. The first few years were solid. We traveled when we could afford it, hosted dinner parties, joined a hiking group. Monica supported me when I quit my secure job to start Green Wrap. She believed in me, or at least I thought she did. Maybe that's why the betrayal cut so deep when it came. It started with small changes after she began working from home during the pandemic. Her laptop would snap shut when I walked into the room. She'd take calls on the back deck, voice low, laughing at jokes I wasn't privy to. Her phone became an extension of her hand, and she'd smile at messages that apparently weren't interesting enough to share with her husband. Just work stuff, she'd say, password protecting a device that had been open between us for years. I ignored it, told myself not to be that insecure, controlling husband who checks his wife's messages. Monica had always been outgoing, social. That's what I loved about her. I wasn't going to become jealous over nothing. Then I found a receipt in our home office, stuck between pages of a magazine. An upscale restaurant downtown that we'd never been to together. 2 entrees, 2 drinks, dessert. Date, a Tuesday, when she told me she had a late meeting with clients. Still, I said nothing. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe there was an explanation. I decided to plan a weekend getaway to reconnect. I booked a cabin at Mount Hood, packed her favorite snacks for the drive, made reservations at that little winery she loved. She seemed genuinely happy during the trip. We hiked, cooked together, opened a bottle of wine by the fireplace. For a moment, I thought I'd imagined the whole thing. Then her phone buzzed at 1:30 a.m. She slipped out of bed, whispered into the device on the porch for 20 minutes. When she came back, she claimed she was just getting some fresh air. I lay there in the dark, eyes wide open, listening to her breathing beside me, wondering who the hell I was sleeping next to, wondering if I ever really knew her at all. The next morning, I found a photograph in our shared cloud storage. Monica with a group of colleagues at what was supposedly a team dinner. Except I knew enough about her team to realize half these people didn't work with her. And one guy, tall, with a designer watch and carefully styled hair, stood much closer to my wife than any coworker should. That's when I stopped pretending. That's when I started paying attention. After that weekend at Mount Hood, I became a detective in my own home. Not the jealous kind who installs spyware or hires someone to follow his wife. I'm not built that way. A man handles his business directly. Instead, I started paying attention to the evidence Monica had been careless enough to leave in plain sight. The next morning, I drove to my warehouse early. Green Wrap was in the middle of a major pitch to a national grocery chain, and I needed the distraction. My operations manager, Keith, noticed something was off. "Everything all right, boss?" Keith asked, leaning against my office door frame. "You look like you haven't slept." "Just finalizing the Henderson proposal," I replied, not looking up from my computer. Personal problems had no place at work. That wasn't how my father raised me. That evening, I came home later than usual. Monica was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables with more force than necessary. "Working late again?" she asked, knife hitting the cutting board with a sharp thwack. "The Henderson account needs attention," I said, washing my hands at the sink. "Something wrong?" "Nothing. Just thought we might actually have dinner together for once," Monica replied, her tone suggesting I was the problem in our marriage. I almost laughed at the irony, but kept my composure. "I'm here now," I said evenly. During dinner, her phone buzzed 5 times. Each time, she glanced at it, then flip it face down. After the fifth message, she excused herself to check on a work emergency. I heard her whispering in our bedroom for 15 minutes. While she was gone, I noticed her purse on the counter. I'm not proud of it, but I looked inside. There was a receipt from a jewelry store downtown, an expensive silver bracelet purchased last Tuesday. My birthday was months away. Our anniversary wasn't until November. When she returned, I asked casually, "How's the work emergency?" "Oh, just Caroline freaking out about the client presentation tomorrow," Monica answered, taking a large sip of wine. Caroline had left the company 3 months ago. Monica had complained about training her replacement for weeks. The next day, I decided to check our shared cloud storage more thoroughly. Buried in a folder labeled Work Conference 2024 were photos Monica had obviously not meant to upload. Her with a man at a restaurant I didn't recognize. The same man from the team dinner photo. His arm around her waist. Her wearing a silver bracelet I'd never given her. In one image, they were outside what looked like a hotel. The plaza downtown. I recognized a distinctive awning. I pulled our credit card statements for the past 6 months. There it was. The Plaza Downtown Hotel, charged 3 times when Monica was supposedly at client meetings or girls' nights out. That evening, I sat in my car outside our house for nearly an hour, cooling my temper, planning my next move. I wasn't going to explode. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me lose control. A man deals with betrayal on his own terms, not while blinded by emotion. I went inside with a clear head and watched her move around our kitchen, talking about her day as if nothing was wrong, as if she hadn't destroyed everything we built. I studied her like a stranger, wondering what else I didn't know about the woman I'd married. 2 weeks passed while I gathered more evidence. I spoke with a lawyer, documented everything meticulously, and prepared for what was coming. I wasn't going to be blindsided when the moment arrived. That Tuesday evening, Monica came home late. She'd curled her hair, applied fresh lipstick. I was sitting at the kitchen table, a single folder in front of me. "We need to talk," Monica said, setting her purse down carefully. Her nervous energy filled the room. "I'm listening," I replied, my voice steady. Monica took a deep breath. "I've been doing a lot of thinking about us, about what I need." She paused, then looked me directly in the eyes. "Wesley, I have a date tonight. I just wanted to be honest with you." The audacity nearly made me laugh. After months of lies, now she wanted honesty? Instead of exploding, I smiled calmly. "I know." Her confidence faltered. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I know about your date. Just like I know about all your other dates with Devin." I slid the folder across the table. "With Devin at the Plaza Downtown. With Devin at Riviera Restaurant. With Devin in our bed while I was in Chicago." Her face drained of color. "Wesley, your bags are already packed," I interrupted. "They're in your car. I've changed the locks, canceled our joint credit cards, and contacted a lawyer." I stood up, maintaining perfect composure. "So yes, you have a date. But you no longer have a husband." Monica's hands trembled as she opened the folder. Inside were photos from the cloud, hotel receipts, credit card statements, and a separation agreement already signed by me. "You can't just," she began. "I already did," I said firmly. "Your security code doesn't work anymore. Your key won't open the door. You chose this path, Monica. Now you can walk it alone." She started to cry, not the dramatic sobs I'd expected, but silent tears of someone watching their safety net disappear. "I never meant to," she tried again. "Mean what? Get caught?" I asked. "The only thing worse than the betrayal is how careless you were. You didn't even try to hide it well." I walked away, poured myself a drink, and left her sitting there. The woman who thought she was about to turn my world upside down now sat speechless as I dismantled hers instead. I'd feared this moment for weeks, imagined I'd feel devastated. Instead, I felt relief. The lies were over. I was taking control back. And watching her face as everything crumbled around her, I knew my words had done what all her deception couldn't. They had destroyed the illusion she'd been living in. I expected screaming after I left Monica, sitting at the kitchen table. Instead, when I returned from the garage, she hadn't moved. She was staring at the folder like it contained a death certificate. In a way, it did. The death of our marriage. "How long have you known?" she finally asked, her voice barely audible. "Long enough," I replied, but I wanted to be thorough. She looked up, mascara streaking down her cheeks. "This isn't like you, Wesley. You're not this cold." And you weren't supposed to be a cheater, yet here we are. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed. People change when they have to. Monica gathered herself, trying to regain control. We can work through this. Couples therapy, a fresh start. Don't throw away 12 years over a mistake. A mistake? I raised an eyebrow. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary or saying something hurtful in an argument. What you did was a campaign of choices, day after day for months. She flinched at my words. The Monica I knew would have fought back, twisted things around until I was apologizing. This new, subdued version was foreign to me. You don't understand, she whispered. I felt invisible. You were always at the warehouse, always focused on green wrap. I needed something that was just mine. So you took something that belonged to someone else? Devin's married. Monica, did you think about his wife? His kids? Her eyes widened. You know about Rachel? I know everything, I said quietly. Rachel and I have compared notes. The color drained from her face completely. Her entire body went still. You talked to her? Monica whispered. Last week. Turns out Devin wasn't as careful with his messages as he thought. Rachel found everything. She's planning her exit too. Monica slumped in her chair. For the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. Not just about losing me, but about facing consequences beyond our marriage. What are you going to do? She asked. Nothing more. I've done enough. Now I'm moving forward without you. I pointed to the door. You should go. Your date is waiting. She stood on shaky legs, clutching her purse like a shield. Can I come back tomorrow to talk? When we've both had time to think. There's nothing to discuss. The locks are changed for a reason. As the door closed behind her, silence filled the house. I sat down heavily on the couch, tension draining from my body. 12 years of marriage ended in a 15-minute conversation. My phone buzzed, a message from Rachel confirming Monica had left. We weren't friends, just allies in the wreckage our spouses had created. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight, I'd won something crucial back: my self-respect. The next morning, I woke up at 5:30, my usual time. Despite everything, routines kept me grounded. I dressed for a run, something I hadn't done in months. 8 miles later, sweat-soaked but clear-headed, I returned home to 5 missed calls from Monica. I ignored them all. Instead, I called Rachel, Devin's wife. We'd agreed to meet at a quiet coffee shop outside town. When I arrived, she was already seated in a corner booth, looking as exhausted as I felt. Thanks for coming, I said, sliding into the seat across from her. Rachel nodded, pushing a leather binder toward me. These are all the messages between them I could recover. They go back 9 months. 9 months. While I was securing loans for Green Wrap's expansion, working 14-hour days to build our future, Monica had been systematically dismantling our marriage. There's something else, Rachel said, her voice dropping. I found hotel reservations in our shared account. The Plaza downtown. Same place Monica and Devin met. I confirmed. Rachel's jaw tightened. 3 times last month, while I was visiting my mother with our son. I opened the binder. The messages were organized by date, highlighted in different colors. Rachel had been thorough. Like me, she'd approached betrayal as a problem to be documented and solved. What's your plan? I asked. Divorce. I've already moved money to separate accounts and secured a rental house. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, revealing a determination I admired. I'm not dragging this out for Jacob's sake. That's no example to set for my son. I nodded in agreement. Have you told Devin you know? Not yet. I'm gathering everything first. He doesn't suspect a thing. Her smile held no warmth. Men like Devin and women like Monica, they think they're so clever. They don't expect their boring, reliable spouses to be 2 steps ahead. As we compared notes, a strange sense of camaraderie formed between us. 2 strangers united by the same betrayal, navigating the same storm. Before we parted, Rachel hesitated. There's something you should prepare yourself for, she said quietly. When I confronted my sister's cheating husband last year, he immediately tried to rewrite history. Told everyone she was cold, controlling, that he felt trapped. Monica might do the same. I hadn't considered that angle, but Rachel was right. Monica would fight dirty when cornered. Let her try, I said, standing up. I've got the truth on my side. Rachel nodded, understanding passing between us. We'll get through this, Wesley. Not because we have to, but because we're stronger than they ever gave us credit for. As I drove back home, I felt a resolve hardening within me. This wasn't just about surviving betrayal anymore. It was about reclaiming my dignity, my future, on my own terms. 3 days after Monica left, the rumors started. First came texts from concerned friends. Heard you and Monica are having problems. And are you okay? Monica seemed upset on her Instagram. I checked her social media, something I rarely did even during our marriage. There it was, a carefully staged photo of her staring sadly into the distance with a cryptic caption about unexpected endings and being abandoned when trying to be honest. She was rewriting our story already, casting herself as the victim, just as Rachel had warned. The next assault came through mutual friends. Dave, my college roommate, called asking what went wrong. Monica said you'd been distant for months. Dave said carefully that when she suggested counseling, you shut her down completely. I laughed, a short, harsh sound. Did she mention she was sleeping with a married man while suggesting counseling? Dave went silent. I've got the receipts, Dave. Hotel bills, text messages, photos she didn't know I had. She wasn't looking to fix our marriage. She was looking for permission to dismantle it. That evening, Monica's attorney sent mine a letter requesting emergency spousal support, claiming I had terminated access to marital resources without warning. I forwarded the letter to my lawyer with a simple message: deploy the evidence package. The following morning, Monica showed up at Green Wrap unannounced. Keith intercepted her in the reception area. Mr. Harmon is in a meeting, I heard him say as I stood in the hallway, out of sight. It's urgent, Monica insisted. I need to speak with my husband. I stepped forward, my voice perfectly calm. We can talk outside. In the parking lot, Monica's composure cracked. Your lawyer sent mine the photos. You're trying to humiliate me. I'm establishing facts, I replied. You used our joint funds for hotel rooms with your lover. You lied about work trips. You violated our marriage in our home. Those aren't accusations. They're documented facts. I made mistakes, she admitted, tears forming. But you're being cruel. Everyone's looking at me like I'm some monster. Actions have consequences, Monica. I kept my distance, unmoved by the tears that once would have devastated me. You created this situation. Now you're living with it. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. We could still fix this. Start over. I've ended things with Devin. Only because you got caught, I replied. And I'm not interested in being your backup plan. As she realized I wasn't budging, her expression hardened. You'll regret this, Wesley. Fighting me will cost you everything. I smiled slightly. That's where you're wrong. You already took everything when you betrayed me. Now I'm rebuilding without you. As I watched her drive away, I felt no satisfaction, no vindication, just a quiet certainty that I was finally on the right path. The path forward, alone but unbowed. 2 weeks after Monica moved out, I received an envelope with no return address. Inside was a handwritten letter from a woman named Jenna Reynolds. My skin went cold as I read the first line. You don't know me, but I know your wife. She was involved with my fiancé, Ian Mitchell, before he died 3 months ago. I sat heavily in my kitchen chair, letter trembling in my hand. Ian Mitchell, a name I'd never heard before Devin. Another secret Monica had kept. According to Jenna, Ian worked in software development. They were planning a December wedding. 2 months before his fatal car accident, she discovered messages between him and Monica. I confronted Ian, Jenna wrote. He promised to end it, seemed genuinely remorseful. I want to believe him. After he died, I found more messages. They were still seeing each other until the end. I poured myself a whiskey, processing this revelation. Monica hadn't just betrayed me with Devin. She'd been living a pattern of deception, moving from one affair to another. I'd been blind to the person sleeping beside me for years. Jenna continued. I'm not writing to hurt you. I debated whether to reach out at all. But something inside me needed closure, needed to know if Monica had done to someone else what she did to me through Ian. At the bottom of the letter was Jenna's phone number. After finishing my drink, I called her. Thank you for contacting me, I said when she answered. I wasn't sure you'd call, Jenna replied, her voice quiet but steady. We arranged to meet the following day at a park halfway between our towns. When I arrived, Jenna was sitting on a bench, a manila folder beside her. She was younger than I expected, early 30s, with the composed demeanor of someone who had processed their grief through action. These are all the messages I recovered, she said, handing me the folder. Some are difficult to read. Inside were dozens of printed exchanges between Ian and Monica, spanning 6 months before his death. In them, Monica described me as predictable, boring, someone who wouldn't notice if she disappeared for a week. The same complaints she'd later recycle with Devin. "When did you find these?" I asked. "After the funeral," Jenna replied. "Ian was a developer. He thought he'd deleted everything, but I work in digital forensics. He didn't stand a chance." I couldn't help but laugh. A short, harsh sound. We made quite a pair. Both betrayed by people we trusted, both gathering evidence like prosecutors building a case. Jenna's expression softened slightly. "That's how we survive, isn't it? By being stronger and smarter than they expected." As I drove home, the folder on my passenger seat, I realized Monica's betrayal went deeper than I'd imagined. This wasn't just about our marriage unraveling. It was about discovering the woman I'd loved had never really existed at all. A month after Monica left, I received notification of a court date for our divorce proceedings. Her lawyer was pushing for spousal support, claiming she'd sacrifice career advancement to support Green Rap's growth. The irony was staggering. That afternoon, I gathered every piece of evidence I collected: hotel receipts, credit card statements, messages from Devin's wife, the letter from Jenna. I laid them out methodically on my office desk, then called my attorney. "She's not getting a dime," I told him firmly. "I want everything on record, both affairs, the misuse of joint funds, all of it." "It'll get ugly," my lawyer warned. "Are you prepared for that?" "I've been preparing for months," I replied. "Truth is all I have, and I'm not compromising on it." 2 days later, Monica tried one last tactic. She appeared at Green Rap again, this time with a mutual friend, Elaine, as buffer. "Can we talk privately?" Monica asked, her expression conciliatory. I nodded to Keith, who understood immediately. "Use my office," he offered, stepping out. Once alone, Monica's mask slipped. "Your lawyers submitted those letters from Jenna to the court," she hissed. "You're trying to destroy me." "I'm establishing facts," I replied calmly. "Your affairs, your lies, your misuse of our resources. If that destroys you, it's your doing, not mine." She changed tactics, tears welling up. "We had 12 years together, Wesley. Doesn't that count for anything?" "It counted for everything," I said, unmoved by the performance. "That's why your betrayal matters." Monica leaned forward. "What if I told you I'm still in love with you? That Devin was a mistake, that I want to come home." I studied her face, the calculated vulnerability, the practiced sincerity. Once, I would have believed her. Once, I would have done anything to fix our marriage. "I'd say you're lying," I replied evenly. "Just like you lied about Ian before him." She froze. "Who told you about?" "Does it matter? The pattern's clear, Monica. This isn't about us growing apart or me working too much. It's about who you are, who you've always been." For a moment, genuine emotion flashed across her face. Not remorse, but frustration at being outmaneuvered. "You think you've won," she said quietly, "that you've got it all figured out. But when you're alone at night, when the satisfaction fades, you'll realize what you've thrown away." I stood, signaling our conversation was over. I already know what I lost, the illusion of a faithful wife. But what I've gained is worth more: my self-respect, my future, my freedom from lies. As she walked out, Elaine watching wide-eyed from reception, I felt a weight lifting. Monica had played her final card and failed. Whatever happened in court, whatever rumors she spread, the truth was documented, irrefutable. That night, for the first time since she left, I slept without dreams of betrayal. The reckoning had come, and I had faced it standing tall. 3 months after Monica left, our divorce proceedings reached their conclusion. My lawyer entered all evidence into the record: the affairs with both Devin and Ian, Monica's misuse of joint funds, the documented timeline of her deception. The judge reviewed everything meticulously. When the final ruling came, it was decisive. Monica's requests for alimony and half of Green Rap were denied. The business remained solely mine, with a small settlement for her that barely covered her attorney's fees. Outside the courtroom, her lawyer pulled her away before she could approach me. The fight had gone out of her. That evening, Rachel called to share her own news. "It's over," she said, relief evident in her voice. "Divorce finalized today. Devin's fighting for joint custody, but given the evidence, his chances are slim." How are you holding up? I asked. Better than expected, she replied. Jacob and I moved into a new house last week. It feels like a fresh start. After we hung up, I wandered through my home. Our home once, realizing how much lighter it felt without Monica's presence, without the weight of suspicion and betrayal. I'd repainted the living room, rearranged furniture, reclaimed spaces that had been contaminated by memories of her deception. The following weekend, I received an unexpected message from Jenna, inviting me to coffee. We'd kept in sporadic contact since meeting, updates on our parallel journeys through the aftermath of betrayal. At the cafe, Jenna looked transformed from our first meeting. More relaxed, hair cut shorter, eyes brighter. I sold the wedding dress yesterday, she announced as I sat down. Got half what I paid, but felt symbolic. Progress comes in strange forms. I agreed. We talked easily, comparing notes on rebuilding. She'd taken a promotion that required travel, something Ian had discouraged. I'd expanded Green Wrap into sustainable shipping materials, doubling our client base. I've been seeing a grief counselor, Jenna admitted. Not just for Ian, but for the loss of what I thought my life would be. That's actually smart, I said. Maybe I should consider something similar. As we parted, Jenna hesitated. Would you want to do this again sometime? Just as friends who understand each other's situation. I found myself nodding. I'd like that. Driving home, I realized something had shifted inside me. The anger that had fueled me through the divorce had receded, leaving space for something else. Not forgiveness. Monica hadn't earned that. But release. I was no longer defined by her betrayal or my response to it. That night, I removed my wedding ring, placing it in a box with other mementos from a life I no longer lived. Then I opened my laptop and began researching eco-friendly packaging innovations for outdoor gear retailers. A market Green Wrap had yet to tap. The future was unwritten, and for the first time in months, that felt like freedom rather than uncertainty. 6 months after Monica left, Green Wrap secured its biggest contract yet, a national outdoor retailer switching all their packaging to our sustainable solutions. The team celebrated at Keith's house, a camaraderie that felt like family. During the party, I stepped outside for some air and found myself thinking not of Monica, but of how far I'd come since that night she announced her date. The business was thriving. I'd reconnected with old friends, made new ones. The divorce was final, the legal battles concluded. Monica had moved to Seattle according to mutual friends, a fresh start with neither Devin nor any other affair partner in the picture. Her carefully curated social media presence had gradually revealed the truth. She was alone, starting over, living with consequences. 2 weeks later, I agreed to help at a charity fundraiser for sustainable business practices, setting up displays for Green Wrap's biodegradable packaging. As I arranged samples, a woman approached. This material is incredible, she said, examining a plant-based shipping container. What's the decomposition timeline? 6 months in standard conditions, I replied. I'm Wesley, by the way. Cassandra, she smiled, extending her hand. I run the Watershed Protection Program that's benefiting from tonight's event. We spent the next hour discussing environmental engineering, sustainable business practices, and hiking trails outside Portland. Her knowledge was impressive, her passion for conservation genuine. When she mentioned grabbing coffee sometime to discuss potential collaborations, I found myself readily agreeing. Our first coffee meeting turned into lunch. Lunch evolved into dinner the following week. Cassandra was different from anyone I'd dated before, straightforward, independent, with an infectious enthusiasm for her work. She listened when I talked about Green Wrap, asked insightful questions, challenged my thinking in ways that pushed me to innovate. You seem hesitant sometimes, she observed during our 4th date, hiking the trail we discussed when we first met. I considered deflecting, but opted for honesty. My marriage ended badly last year. Trust is still a work in progress. Cassandra nodded. I appreciate the honesty. For what it's worth, I'm not interested in games or secrets. Life's too short. Over the following months, we took things slowly, building something that felt solid. I told her about Monica, about the betrayal, not to dwell on it, but because it was part of my story. Cassandra shared her own past, a fiancé who couldn't handle her career ambitions, a year spent rebuilding her confidence. One evening, as we prepared dinner at my place, I realized something had changed. The house that once felt haunted by betrayal now contained new memories, new laughter. The future I'd envisioned with Monica had crumbled, but from its foundations, something stronger was emerging. "What are you thinking about?" Cassandra asked, catching me lost in thought. "That sometimes losing what you thought you wanted makes room for what you actually need," I replied. She smiled, understanding without needing elaboration. We didn't rush to define what we were building, didn't make grand declarations. Instead, we simply appreciated each day, each conversation, each moment of connection built on mutual respect and honesty. The man who had once desperately tried to save a poisoned marriage now stood confident, whole on his own, open to possibilities, but never again willing to compromise his self-respect for someone else's lies. That was victory enough.